Alrighty, welcome back everyone. My name is Liam. Got another play and explain for you guys here today. Just playing the regular 2 tables of 100 Zoom. But before we get into that, we've got some unanswered questions from the last video. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to run through the spot again, but we're making a very ambitious call here on the river. If you want to hear my thought process on the hand, understand what's happening here, then go watch my last video, like the first 5 minutes. But now we've got the grand reveal. Do we walk away like a champion, like an absolute boss, calling down with Jack High? Or do we make a mockery of ourselves, look like absolute fools, and let DJ T Dot make the absolute maximum? Drum roll, please. We got owned, guys. Really brutal. It's been a really brutal week after this. We let him make the maximum. Not sure about this spot. I'm curious to read. I'm recording this video early before I posted the last one because I'm going to be away next week. I'm curious to see what you guys said in the comments about what you would do in this spot. See how many of you would have gotten away from this. That makes it sound like it was a cooler, but I just, probably just made a bad call. Anyways, we've got a new arch nemesis in the pool. DJ T Dot, if you're watching this, I'm coming after you. You better be on your A game whenever we're in a pot together, because I'm showing no mercy. All right, without further ado, let's get into the video. Scanning for DJ T Dot before I fold a hand. I'm just c-betting range on this board. This is a board where you definitely got to be doing... Actually, I'm going to play GTO. This guy's got a decent amount of check raises. Looks like he's slightly over-folding, but I'm not going to go for any range bets against someone with a pretty solid check raising frequency. So my hand's going to bet at some frequency and it's going to check at some frequency, but overall my range is doing a sizable amount of betting on this board, just because he has more connection around the lower portion of the board. He doesn't have any... He has 3-5 suited, which we don't have, and he has 3s at a higher frequency and 5s at a higher frequency than we do. On a 27, I think I'm just going to check back ace queen. And nothing to do but fold now versus the pot size bet, which I kind of like, actually. I think he's putting like king jack or king queen at the bottom of his value range. An easy fold with the king 10 offsuit. Just mark this guy. Low frequency 3-bet on table 1, but on a 7 we'll call. So my hand is going to be check raising at some frequency. I think on a 74 it's still just calling. And I'm going to call here on table 2. I'm assuming he's betting his range, so we both improve to pocket 5s. Some 5-6, ace-5. I'll have 10-5 that he doesn't have. And now versus the overbet on the turn, I think on a 55, I'm just going to fold my hand. We have a gut shot to the nuts. I'm unsure about this spot. I'm unsure. I'll definitely be raising it at some frequency, and I'm just going to call here on table 2. Yeah, I'll definitely be raising it at some frequency. But I think I'm starting to get into the raise or fold realm. I'm not sure. I'm going to check on table 1. And going to go for a small bet on table 2, or on table, check on table 2, small bet table 1. Not super happy with this spot. My hand probably does some jamming in theory. It's probably mixing between call and jam. I just feel like I'm not good here that often. Yeah. Maybe a spot for an exploit fold. I think our hand makes for kind of a cool check raise all-in jam, because we are going to have some, you know, pocket 8s. We are going to have some king 8s that definitely want to jam. So versus the check, I expect them to have a lot of kind of worse pairs, under pairs to the king and ace high. And I think a 75% size is going to put those in a rough spot. I kind of don't like my call anymore, actually. I think versus under the gun, it's hard for him to find bluffs on this board. Depending on if he has some give-ups. Like I think he needs to be giving up like some queen 10, queen jack, jack 10 type hands, because those are going to be auto blocking my folds, or blocking my auto folds rather. And I think he's going to have to find them more in kind of his I don't know, it's hard for him to find bluffs. Yeah, maybe that should have just been a fold. I think he can also just be betting better aces on the river for value. Overall, I think he's probably just value weighted there. So king 6 is going to be a 3-bet at some frequency, and on a 78 we'll go for it. And 10-9, even on a 98, I'm just pure folding. So my hand is going to 3-bet at some frequency on table 1. I think even on a 68, my hand gets into the 3-bet. These are some of the combos that are kind of tough to find, which is why I think overall the big blind is pretty under 3-bet. And it's just because you have to find some of these hands that are profitable calls and put them into your 3-betting range. You know, a lot of times when you're playing on autopilot or you have a lot of tables open, it's pretty easy to just snap call these kind of hands, even if you roll high enough to 3-bet. So same thing on a 2, I'm going to want to protect my check-back range with some Jack-X, and this is a board that I'm definitely going to need to have some check-backs on. He has 6s and 8s at a higher frequency than we do. He has 6-8 suited that we don't open, Jack-6 suited, Jack-8 suited that we don't open. So we need to be having a lot of check-backs on this board. Now the king is a good card for us, but I think my hand still mostly just wants to check. I'm unsure about my reopening scheme, if I'd want to reopen for a 3rd there or a normal bet. Now I think we have a value bet on the river. He should be betting a lot of the king X himself and 8x. So I think our jack is actually a lot stronger than it looks. We can get heroed by some 6x or lower pairs, even some ace high. And this is a line that we get to bluff everything in. Just because we have the stronger range pre-flop, when it goes check down to the river and you're in position, you never have to check back a hand without showdown value in most spots. So on a 78, my hand is going to go into the 4-bet bluffing, quote-unquote, bluffing range. Just checking my range on this board. The button's more concentrated around the sets. It just has less air than we do. And going to 3-bet on table 1. I think versus the half pot bet, I'm just going to fold ace queen. Maybe that's a little nitty. Just going to range bet this board for a 3rd. We have a huge Jack X advantage. Obviously, we have a big King X advantage, and the big blind has a lot of air in his range. And it's basically just a fuck you bet. We have a better range than you do. Now, this is called a fuck you check raise. And he's saying fuck you in your fuck you range bet. And I'm like, well, fuck. And then I fold. So King 8 off is going to be the lowest offsuit king that I'll open from the small blind. And the button. Although I think King 7 off is a low frequency open from the button. Just pure 3-betting my hand here. Hopefully we don't get 4-bet and get to play a pot with a weaker player. I think on this board I'm going to start out with a half pot bet. Just want to leverage my Jack X advantage in overpairs. Not a great turn for our hand. I think I'm just going to check back and realize my equity. I don't think I can get a 10 to fold. No matter what size. I think his folding range is going to be pretty inelastic, so I'm just going to bet small. This line looks pretty fishy from to a weaker player though. So it's not a super attractive spot to bluff. I just feel like I have to bluff my hand. And obviously we have a fold. So on table 2, I overbet the turn. And I think I'm just going to overbet the river as well. I guess 8-9 gets there. I don't really care. Yeah, okay. I think I might split on the turn between an overbet size and a small betting size versus a weaker player. I think that versus a reg, I might just simplify to either a half pot or a 75% bet with all my hands that just blending the hands that want some protection that want to bet for small and the really strong hands that want to bet for big. So jacks on a 94 would be a 4-bet in theory. However, versus a weaker player who I expect to not be 3-betting all the hands that they should, and maybe being a little more value oriented, I'm just going to pure call jacks. Now he still has some, overcards and some pretty easy bluffs to find. That's a really bad turn card. I think I'm just going to fold the turn now. He picks a good size. I think he just basically wants to bet his entire range for this size. On an 82, I think I'm going to peel again. Couldn't have picked a worse turn. Couldn't have picked a worse river. Part of me wants to jam versus this. I just think this is like always a king. You could be doing this with some ace X actually. However, my jacks are really bad blockers to be bluffing with. We're just blocking like all his folds. I just really feel like jamming versus that. All right, what's going on here? Half pot, I guess with the gut shot and top pair, I'll call one. And I'm just gonna fold. Call Jack 7 to the 2.25 open. I'm not sure about this spot. I think I'm going to throw some 7x into my check raising range. This isn't a board that he can bet range on, and I want to be responding somewhat aggressively. Obviously, blocking pocket sevens makes our hand a pretty nice check raise. He's not opening 10-7, so it's not really a consideration. It's just mostly pocket sevens, and blocking some jack X hands that are going to continue. Like jack 10, pocket jacks, jack 9. So I think cutoff versus big blind, I'm going to play this board as a 1/4 with range, which I think is still allowed in theory. We might still need to have a checking range though, just because of the fact that he has pocket threes. I'm gonna go for a small bet on table 2, table 1. I think I have a lot of hands that benefit from some protection. I can throw some ace-x into this range as well. Going to be 3-betting my hand on an 88. Now I kind of like the small bet again. Trying to get some like king high to fold, and just an easy fold on table 2. I think he has a pretty clear, okay, so yeah, ace-2 off isn't an open from the button, and I think he has a pretty clear raise on the river. I think I can still be betting like an 8 for this size, maybe even pocket sevens. Gonna see what's going on in here in PO land. Calling on an 81. So a board where he definitely needs to have a check back range. To the big bet, I think that my hand is in raise or fold territory, and on a 47 I'm just gonna fold. I'm gonna be cold 4-betting here. This guy's got a pretty low 3-bet percentage. I don't have a lot of hands on him though. Makes it a little bit less attractive. On a 1, sevens will be a fold. It's not a pure open from under the gun. A 97. I think my hand goes into the 4-betting range. Pretty sure my hand is mostly a fold. I'm sure it goes in at some frequency though. We probably want some coverage on, you know, some straight boards. Mostly a fold though. And now I think a spot where with the ace, I just want to bet 10% with my range. I want to bet a size that I can still bet for value with like kings and king queen. You know, he still has a lot of pocket pairs under the queen. Part of me just wants to 10% again. I'm unsure what to do here. I'm gonna check. Probably check jam. I guess we're just hoping to check down versus like pocket jacks or tens that had to peel the flop. I feel like turning my hand into a bluff feels a little ridiculous, but ranges are so tight, maybe I have to. Alright, well I guess it was pocket tens. I have no idea what was going on that turn there. Like what wants to bet for value from my perspective is like ace king, ace queen, queens. We have aces too. I think maybe we're using like a 1/3 size on the turn there and just putting ace king at the bottom of our value range. I have no idea what my hand wants to do. I'm guessing check and facing a bet. Am I check jamming? But what is he bet folding? I have no idea what was going on there. Not a clue. Like, his strongest value hands are going to be ace queen and queens that we block, so that gives us kind of an incentive to bluff our hand. But it just feels like we still have some showdown value, like a sliver. I don't know if it matters when ranges are this tight. I have 3-betting on a 97 on table 2. Our hand is going to be a 3-bet at a low frequency here from the button. I think on a 70 it's still just folding. And I am playing calls on the button, however, versus a 3x open, I'm only playing 3-bets. Just not getting as good of a price to call. Giving the blinds a more attractive squeeze. Just gonna bet on an 82 here. Also a board where we'll need some checkbacks. The big blind's gonna have more connection around the 7 and 6 than we do. I think versus a smaller check raise, my hand will continue. Versus the big check raise, I already just kind of want to fold. I have a feeling my hand is close to indifferent there versus the big size. Bet. Panic bet on table 2. Uh-oh. Punished. That guy knows a panic bet when he sees one. Yeah, you can definitely check back some 8x. Yeah, and having raises on that turn, yeah, makes a lot of sense for that reason. I think this is still a little bit too wide to open 3s, but with a weaker player in the big blind, I'll open it a little bit wider. Huge exploitative deviations come. Oh! What is this, guys? Finally. We'll give that a second. Low c-bet, or low 3-bet percentage. I'm just gonna fold. He goes a little bigger. Look at this, guys. I wanted you to be here for this. The monthly grind for me is over. I know some people are going for 2 boxes. Good luck, soldiers, if you're out there watching and you're working on your second box. I'm gonna call here on a 75. But I'm away for the rest of, is it April? I'm away for the rest of April. So I can only do 1 this month. We'll just sit out next hand and bask. I'm just gonna check again on table 1. Now I think I want to block my hand. I don't think I have showdown value, but I don't really have good blockers, so I don't want to go into the overbet range. Or do I just give up this hand? No, I think it blocks. Yeah, I just feel like I'm getting snapped by ace there a lot. I kind of just wanted to give up. Okay, anyways. The grind is over for this month. Feels good. Awesome. Alright, well, I'll just finish up the video. I just wanted you guys to be there to share in my super exciting celebration. Our hand is going to be an open for middle position. I think it's just at a slightly lower frequency than 66. And a pure 3-bet on table 1. So board on table 2 that in theory I'll need to have a checking range in. Although versus a weaker player, I'm just going to play my hand. And I think 8s probably just wants to bet like a third here. Benefits a lot from protection. Gets called by worse. Now on the turn, I think maybe the protection thing still applies versus some flush draws and overcards he still has, but we're definitely not getting called by worse, and I think we're just starting to isolate ourselves to better hands, so I'm just going to check. And on table 1, we're going to need a checking range as well. On an 84, I'm going to bet my Jack 10, but checking back at some frequency. Versus the half pot, I'm going to peel 1. Not feeling super excited about this spot. I think I'm going to turn my hand into a bluff versus this. I don't really know what he's representing, and I'm checking back on table 1. So he has some missed flush draws. He has some missed gut shots that we block. Yeah, I'm going to raise my hand here. I don't really know what he's saying. Just trying to get a jack to fold, basically. He's saying he has like a weak jack. Maybe could have went bigger, actually. I think I should have went bigger. Pray for me, guys. Considering jam, considering call, considering fold, considering how hard this game is, considering how annoying the spot is, considering the 9 I'm about to flop, considering how I'm not considering the spot enough right now. Call. I guess this is just always an ace. Oh god. Oh god. I'm gonna try and erase the last minute from my memory permanently. This was a bad call. I 3-bet here, just 3-betting, or betting range, rather. Really good board for us. Really good turn for us, too. I think I'm just going to keep bluffing my hand. Going to bet one... what size do I want to bet? I'm going to bet like 2/3 and jam rivers. I think on non-flush runouts. At the end, I think we need to start turning some of these weaker pairs into bluffs because it's, a lot of our Broadway and good hands are, good hands on this board. So we got to get a little bit creative with what we're bluffing with. And I think it's going to look like some suited ace-x and some of these lower pairs. On 94, I'm going to call and easy fold versus the raise. I'm trying to think what he's doing this with. I'm going to make sure I'm thinking about that spot right and turning my 6s into a bluff. Just checking back on table 2. Hoping to hit a 5. Not much more to say. Alright, gonna go for another 5 minutes and then wrap it up. Yeah, considering jam here is kind of interesting. Just trying to get him to fold an ace. Blocking jack queen and some ace 10, 10 9, 10 8. 10s should mostly be 4-betting, but I think maybe people are calling it. Folding ace 2 here. I think that's a fold. And betting table 2. Yeah, kind of an interesting spot to jam. Because I don't think when he bets a third on the river, he ever has jack queen. I think that's always betting bigger. I think his sets are probably betting bigger too. I think the only kind of good value hand that would go into this size is, yeah, some 2-pair ace-x that's blocking a lot of the board. Really curious to see what this spot looks like in theory. There's a lot going on. This guy seems like a decent reg too. I'm gonna check on a 27 and check raise or check call. Although my hand I think is betting more than it's checking on the flop. Better turn card for him, I'd say. Now I think on a 37, I don't really like my blockers. I'm gonna check again and then bluff rivers. So I think in this spot I get to bluff everything, all my non-showdown, and it's just a question of I'm gonna have an overbet size and a block bet size. And I think that blocking some of the hands like king queen, king jack that are gonna need to fold, or like, yeah, I don't really have great blockers because I'm blocking his auto fold, so I'm gonna put it into the smaller bet sizing. And I think pretty reasonable calling with any pair in the check down line blind v blind. Okay, I'm gonna sit out. Yeah, I think my hand is gonna go into a small bet size on the river as a bluff. Maybe it's the opposite. I should be over betting. 3-betting here on table 2. I don't know. I'll check this one too. Okay, so he has some overcards. He flops 5s. We block 8s. He has some overcards we need some protection from, although he has some better overpairs than us. I think my hand is going to be checking more than it's betting. We also have the nice property of reversing an ace when an ace comes on the turn. My bet size I'm going to use on this board is half pot, just leveraging our overpair advantage. Yeah, so this gets him to fold out, you know, some king jack, king queen, king 10 hands, which is really good for my hand. So he still has some flush draws. He has some missed backdoor flush draws that are going to be folding the turn now. On an 11, I'm going to check my hand. We still benefit from some protection. However, because we bet the flop, you know, I'm not as scared of this jack now because I expect him to be folding out all of his, not all. He still has the flush draw combos, but jack X, you know, like king jack, queen jack that he might be calling. Ace Jack is probably indifferent on the flop, and I think I just have an easy check back. All right, well, thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. All right, peace out.